Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended on Ragnarok. And in this video, I'm going to show you all of the locations that you can go ahead and find beaver dams. Now, beaver dams are one of the most popular things because it's early access to a ton of cementing paste, wood, and pretty much everything you need with rare mushrooms, rare flowers for kind of like most, I guess, the more frustrating resources to get. So there are small giant beaver dams, and then on Ragnarok there is a special thing, and you can see that there's the small ones. As soon as you open it, they're all going to come and try and kill you. And then there are also giant beaver dams. Now there's two different types of giant beaver dams over on Ragnarok. There is this one where you can go inside of it, and once you are inside of it, you can actually kind of walk around. It's kind of fun, and then access the resources. Cool thing is you can kind of safely be inside of this because for some reason they don't know how to get inside of it, so that's kind of interesting, but we won't go into that. So that is one of the giants. There's another one of those, and then there's a third type over here, a giant beaver dam, and this is like the river block, and these all three in combination will give you a significant chunk of cementing paste, wood, rare mushrooms, rare flowers. So you can see that they will spawn, so the smaller ones will spawn all over the place, including in the water. And you can kind of just go through the water in order to find them. The larger ones will spawn in the same spots every time. You've got that one. You got these that'll block, and they'll kind of get a few on this little river right here. And then if you go to this kind of larger lake over here, you'll get some of the big ones, 1, 2, and then around these, you'll typically get a few smaller ones as well, like you see right over here. This is probably one of the most cementing paste filled areas in all of Ark because of the number of beavers and beaver dams that spawn in this location. And again, the chords 24.9, 44.6, just so you can see them. And it'll go, they will not go much further over here. They don't drop down and make beaver dams over here. So you'll start getting beaver dams right around this lower lake section. And then you can kind of go up this river in order to get them. This is the highest concentration of them. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the only place. There's a few other spots that I'll show you that you can actually get access to quite a few of them. But this is probably my favorite spot to get a bunch of stuff for them. Now, technically speaking, some can spawn down here. I don't see them super often because just like this is a perfect example. Everything down here is aggressive and it will murder beavers. So they can technically spawn down next to Triple Waterfall, which is over here at 27.8, 48.6, but I never ever find them there. And that's just due to the fact that, yeah, everything kills beavers and nobody will ever get beavers if they're dead. So moving on from that, there's another little spawn that most people don't actually know about, and that is right over here. Again, sometimes harder to find beavers. You can see here they are right here. And there's a couple of dams. This is a smaller spawn next to like a little cavern, if you want to think of it this way. But this is like a little micro spawn, 32.3, 43.7, and you'll get a few beaver dams here. Nothing major, but you can get a few beaver dams in this region. There's a couple of caverns here as well that kind of hide in a little base or a teleporter and kind of go back that way. So that is the next spot. Now, next up on our list, we're going to kind of go a little bit further away to a spot that's, well, I mean, it's not necessarily uncommon, but there are beavers here. It's just not as prevalent as you would think. So this like open field, right? So this open field, this is where they can technically start spawning. I don't see them super often in this area, mostly because I don't search because I'm lazy and that's a big pool of water. But if you go a little further down on the river, they will spawn on the river, and then more specifically, they'll kind of spawn down here. But this river as a whole can spawn beavers because they share spawns with fishes. And obviously you can see that, I think that's a fish. It's just a giant saber-toothed salmon. Holy crap. But yeah, they can technically spawn over here, and the chords of this area, just so you can see, is 60.8, 39.8. Obviously I don't see any here right now, but it doesn't mean they don't spawn here. It's just, that's where they used to spawn in Old Rag. Now, there are a few more spots in the snow biome that we can technically find them. It's a little bit complicated to locate the area because it's a snow biome that is water biome, actually. I don't see any right now, so that's unfortunate. But they can technically spawn on this river right here, and then it can also go down to this river over here. I don't see any at this moment in time, but they can spawn on it. I just don't see any actively at this moment. It does head down into the desert biome. That's how I find it typically. They will spawn over here. Kind of not rare, but they'll walk around on the land quite a bit if they do spawn over in this zone. Now, those are the major spawns over in this zone. There are a few more smaller spawns that we can kind of hit up. If you're traveling a little bit, if you want to travel a little bit, I suppose I should say. I don't think this was here before. I don't remember this water being here. So it's possible they spawn in here. This looks like a beaver dam. Nope, that's it looks like saber-tooth salmon. But oh well. Now, let's go ahead and go to the other kind of larger-ish spawn for the beavers. And that is way over here. Now, this is the second largest one over on Ragnarok, and it's the entire Redwood forest really has a bunch of beaver dam spawns. This big lake can technically have a few beavers in it. I just don't bother searching because, again, the larger areas are harder to find the beavers, so I don't even really bother. If you go down this river, however, this river is filled with beavers. The further you go down, the more you get. This larger lake can technically have them. I'm too lazy to search it. So if you go down this river a little bit further, just till it gets to this next waterfall portion. Where's the next waterfall? Right over here. All right, so if you start in this region where I am at the chords of 39.6, 72.4, you can run this river and you'll get quite a few beaver dams. Now, most of them won't be up here, but you'll get a few. Most of the beaver dams you're going to find are after this waterfall right here. And then in this zone, for some reason, the beavers will walk all over the place over here. Don't know why they set it up like this. You can see them down there, and they just make beaver dams literally everywhere, all over this zone right here. This entire like river network is filled with beavers, and the entire thing will be eventually, if you let it run long enough, a server runs long enough, it'll be filled with beaver dams. Now, there are enough of them where they'll typically fight pretty much any creature, including terror birds, so they will survive pretty well over in this region, which means that more beaver dams will spawn. So that little area will have some, and then you can pretty much follow this thing down right here, this river, up until it goes inside of this, and then once it pops out the other side, you can find a few beaver dams over here. Not as common, but it's possible to get some beaver dams in this section as well. So again, it's just where the beavers actually spawn. Now, I cannot speak for some of the new islands because those might have beaver dams. If I had to take a wild guess, my only location on the new areas that might have beavers would be this little lake right here. But I don't, oh, nope, there they are. There is so this is the new one. Yep. So I figured they would add one beaver dam spawn in. So this is a giant beaver dam network. It looks like there is a ton of beavers down there. Holy crap. Well, this is a new one for me. I was just a random guess. So, yep. So this little lake has a ton of beavers. You can see giant beaver dam, and then there's a whole bunch of the small ones around. They are typically looking like that. And so here's another good spot that you can go. It looks like they only spawn in this area and don't really expand. Nope, they don't. So this is where you can find a ton of beaver dams, and it's where you can get all of the beaver dams over on Ragnarok. So hopefully this video helps you out. And if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for that algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, Teach out.